Among those closest to Jesus during his earthly life was not only his disciples, but his family. One of his brothers, James, would go from skeptic to one of the greatest leaders of the early church. Known as James the Just, he was a man of holiness, prayer, and courage. Today we'll uncover the story of James, his relationship with Jesus, his leadership in the early church, his martyrdom, and the lessons his life still teaches us. James, the brother of Jesus. Matthew 13:55 tells us that Jesus had brothers, James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas. John 7:5 reveals that at first, his brothers did not believe in him, for even his own brothers did not believe in him. Imagine growing up in the same household as Jesus, yet struggling to accept him as the Messiah. James began as a skeptic, but after the resurrection, everything changed. 1 Corinthians 15:7 records that Jesus appeared to James after rising from the dead. That encounter transformed him forever. One encounter with the risen Christ can turn a doubt into destiny. Leader of the Jerusalem church. After his transformation, James rose to become the foremost leader of the Jerusalem church. Acts 15 records the Council of Jerusalem, where disputes over Gentile believers arose. It was James who stood, quoting Amos 9, and gave wise judgment, that Gentiles need not be bound by all the Jewish laws, but should avoid idolatry and immorality. Galatians 2:9 calls James, Peter, and John the pillars of the church. His influence was so great that Paul referred to him as James, the Lord's brother. Galatians 1:19. God can turn the skeptics into pillars of the faith. James the Just, a life of prayer. Early church historians such as Eusebius tell us that James was called the Just because of his holiness. He was known for his devotion to prayer, often kneeling in the temple so frequently that his knees became hard like a camel's. He lived simply, ate no meat, drank no wine, and wore only simple garments. He was respected even by non-Christians for his integrity and devotion to God. True spiritual authority is born in prayer and holiness, not in titles. The Epistle of James. James also left us a powerful letter, the Epistle of James. His words are direct, practical, and full of wisdom. He wrote, "Faith without works is dead," James 2:26. He taught believers to control their tongue, to care for the poor, and to endure trials with patience. James 5:16 remains one of the most quoted verses today. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. His epistle shows us that true Christianity is lived out in action, not just belief. Real faith produces real fruit. The Martyrdom of James. James's influence grew so strong that the Jewish leaders began to fear him. According to Josephus, the Jewish historian, around AD 62, James was accused of breaking the law and brought before the Sanhedrin. Tradition tells us he was taken to the pinnacle of the temple in Jerusalem and ordered to renounce Christ. Instead, James boldly declared that Jesus is the Son of God. In rage, they threw him down. Still alive, he prayed for his enemies as stones struck him, echoing Stephen's forgiveness. Finally, a blow to the head ended his life. The just one became a martyr, sealing his testimony with blood. Holiness may cost you your life, but it leaves a legacy that never dies. The legacy of James. James's martyrdom shook the early church, but strengthened its resolve. His life left behind a legacy of prayer, wisdom, and uncompromising faith. Even skeptics who once doubted him later acknowledged his impact. The Epistle of James continues to challenge us today to live what we believe, to be doers of the word and not hearers only, James 1:22, and to endure trials with faith. Closing reflection. From skeptic to saint, from doubter to leader, from brother to martyr. James's journey is a testimony that no life is beyond God's transforming power. He teaches us that 1. An encounter with Christ can change everything. 2. Prayer is the fuel of spiritual authority. 3. Faith must be alive with works, and that living and dying for Christ is the greatest honor. So I ask you, what lesson from James's life speaks to you most? Comment below, share this video, and subscribe for more Bible stories, prayers, and encouragement.